Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kemi, and I'm here to talk about Beyond the Gate Season 2, Episode 117. Now, before we begin, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications so you'll know whenever I post. All right, so we start the episode off with Hayley chewing out Bill about what just happened. Bill can't explain it. We go to Isaiah, we go to the hospital, and Eva is with Isaiah, and she's telling him about her talk with Kat, and Kat saying that she doesn't want to be her sister. Um, Isaiah says that's crazy, but at least she isn't on the warpath, and he's fine with the new and improved Cat since she saved Eva's life. She says, "Don't gas her up too much. Her liver might reject her out of jealousy." They kiss, and then Leslie walks in. He says he has to go, but he says, maybe he should stay or whatever. But Leslie says she got this. Eva tells her that she's okay. Leslie tells her she got a liver transplant and she got a personality transplant. She's turning over a new leaf. Eva doesn't believe it and says we'll see. Leslie tells her that she's moving in with Eva, and then Eva's heart rate starts to accelerate. So we see Deanna. She's talking with Kat about the transplant. Kat still can't stand Eva. Says she's smug and messy and a walking reminder of what her family lost, but she doesn't want her to pass. So we see Vanessa and Joey. They are at Uptown. He wants to take her away to Napa for a few days, and she's okay with it. So we go to, and I don't have a picture of it, so we just gonna use we'll just use this one, I guess. So Nicole is talking to Kyle, and they're at the hospital. She wants to take him to lunch, but he has a PT appointment. He talks about how the patient is stubborn, but she has a hot mom, and Nicole is just like, wait, what? And then she finds out that it's Kat or whatever. He took her on to, because he wanted to score brownie points with Nicole, and Nicole says brownie points awarded, and then they kiss. We see, and I'm gonna keep this picture up because again I don't have a picture of it. But we see Ted. He's talking to Shanice. He wants to take her to lunch, but she can't because she has a PT appointment with Eva. It was supposed to be earlier, but Leslie showed up, so she rescheduled it. She ain't trying to deal with Leslie. Um, she says she's changed her ways, but once a trifling heifer, always and he stops her and says he agrees. But then he tells her to, carve out some time for me. He wants to treat her. So we see Tyrell, and not Tyrell, Samantha has Tyrell's graduation cap and his little tassel thingy. She also has Martin's cover of him winning the primaries, and then she has Smitty's article with his editor giving him kudos, and then she has her crown on the table. She's trying to take a picture. Um, Martin comes home, and then they ask what's going on. She tells them she was about to film content just for her crown, but then she realized that the whole family is winning, so she wants to celebrate all of their wins. They love the idea. Martin cancels the rest of his day and asks them how will they celebrate. Samantha says, "Oh, I heard Beyonce had a pop-up concert in Miami. We can go there." And Tyrell is saying, "But if we gonna fly somewhere, then we can just fly to the Bahamas." And he and Jessica could use some beach time. Martin doesn't know what got into the kids. They finally decide that they want to do a game night and pizza at the house. Martin and Smitty are shocked that the kids have become boring. So we go back to Bill trying to talk his way out of what just happened. Hayley won't let up on him. She wants to have more experiences that he hasn't had with Danny. He says, okay. We go back to Deanna and Kat, and she's telling Kat that she would rather donate her organs to science than give it up to Joey. She talks about Doug being a good man and Joey being a crook. Kat gets it and talks about her dislike from Eva from jump, but um, but it didn't tell her about her origin story. She tells her about her dream and she doesn't want and how she doesn't want to hate Kat. I mean, she doesn't want to hate Eva as much. Deanna tells her, "Oh, she's gotten soft." She says, "No, she's just gained perspective." Deanna doesn't want to lecture about giving Joey a chance, and she thought that Kat was on her side. Kat says she is, but it would be smart not to antagonize him. Deanna isn't scared of him. Kat says he says that he hasn't done anything to her, but her whole family keeps him at arm's length. Um, and reputations are earned, so be careful. Deanna says Joey wouldn't do anything to her since he wants her mama, and he would do anything to keep her mom in his good grace or whatever. So again, we go back to Joey and Vanessa, and they're looking at places to stay while places to stay when they're in Napa or whatever. We go back to Leslie, Eva, and Isaiah, and the nurse is walking out, and she's saying, telling the nurse thank you, and she doesn't know how Eva's heart rates like spiked or whatever. Eva's telling her she doesn't want a roommate, and list all the reasons why. Leslie isn't listening and says all good that they had when they were living together. Eva tells her to go back to the Bowman, and why does she want to come back to the apartment? Um, and she says it's for Eva, and everything she does is for Eva. So again, we go back to Kyle and Nicole talking about taking how he's now doing PT because that's not what he's specializes in, and he says Shanice needed some help or whatever, and it's a way that he can get to know Kat. So we see Ted, and him and Shanice are still talking, and he wants to take her on a private yacht dinner. She doesn't know what to wear. He tells her that she deserves this, and whatever you wear, you'll look beautiful in it. They start to flirt with each other. We go back to Kat and Deanna, and Kat is telling her that she oh no, she asked her about Vanessa, and Deanna's telling her how she talked to her after the tornado, and it was nice until Joey came on the phone, and she was just like, he got on the phone. She was just like, no, she heard him in the background, and then she hung up on him. So Kat tells her not liking her parents' choices, tells her about her not liking her parents' choices, but it takes time and she accepted the new normal. Deanna says Joey isn't her daddy and he isn't someone her mom should be with. Kat says, but you shouldn't punish her. You won't get this time back. Do you want to look back and see that you stayed mad longer than you stayed close? And then, she gives Deanna something to think about. Kyle comes in and ask her if she's ready for PT. Deanna leaves, and Kat asks him, "So what's the update on you and Nicole?" So we go back to Leslie and them, and she's telling them how the house was knocked down during the tornado, and hotel life is depressing. And um, Eva tells her, "Why don't you move into Peach's place?" She can't because she sublet it. Isaiah butts in and says it's not the best solution. And she says, and Leslie comes up to him and says, "Who asked you?" So we go to the Smarty clan, and they're playing dominoes and eating pizza, and they're talking about all the things that they're going to do for the summer. We go back to Bill and Hayley. Bill wants to go back to the hotel, but Hayley wants to erase any trace of Danny from that office. She tells him to send the staff home, and then she puts some more stuff in his drink. So we go back to Joey on the phone with the pilot, telling them to get ready, get the jet ready. And then he asks about getting new wardrobe or whatever. They kiss as Deanna is watching, and Deanna's watching from outside, and then Doug shows up and says, I thought you were putting an end to this. Deanna is glad he's there, and he thought she would have shut down the Joey situation by now. She tried, but Vanessa is stuck in her way. She's sorry. She let him down. He tells her, she's playing this wrong and she's playing the wrong games and tells her what she needs to do. Deanna understands the assignment. So we go back to Leslie and them. Isaiah's putting his foot down. Eva says, how about we compromise? They work in shifts. She agrees, but not without being pitiful. Shanice comes in and kicks them out for PT. So we go to Kyle and Kat, and they're talking about him and Nicole. She asks about his sons and how they feel about Nicole, and he want sorry, and she asked if you want to introduce him to Nicole, and he says he wants to. So we go to Izaiah. He wants to ask Ted a question, and Leslie overhears it. And this is when Nicole walks up and catches her eavesdropping and says, I thought you were changing your ways. Leslie then tells her what happened, and she thinks that Izaiah is asking Ted for Eva's hand. Isaiah is actually asking Ted for help to keep Leslie away and not moving in. He says he'll help. He'll help whenever he'll help if it comes to it. So we see the girls, they're doing their PT, and then they run into each other as they're on their walks. The family is watching all of them. They're trying to get by each other, but they keep moving into the same direction as each other. So then the family, Isaiah, Ted, Leslie, Nicole, they're all telling them, oh, Kat, you move this way. Eva, you move this way. They're all doing all of this stuff. And then the girls yell to them, stop. So we go back to Bill and Hayley, and they talked about their experiences, and they've had, there's no experience that they haven't had, and they can't, they got to figure out ways to create new ones. We go back to Doug and Deanna. He's telling her she knows what she got to do, and she's saying she knows what she got to do. So we go back to Vanessa and Joey. They're still talking about their trip. Deanna comes in. Joey gets up to leave, but she stops him. We go back to Bill and Hayley, and Bill is saying he ain't jumping from no plane because that was one of the ideas that she wanted. She wanted them to jump from a plane and then have sex afterwards. She says that she wanted to take him out, she wouldn't do it that way. She tries to talk him into it, and she takes off her clothes, and he's, maybe debating on if he's going to do it or not. We go back to the Smarty clan, and they're done with game night. Martin and Smitty give speeches on how proud of the kids they are, and all that the family has accomplished, and then that they are going to go to the Bahamas after all. They're going to leave right after graduation. Tyrell asks if Jessica can come, and they say if her parents allow it, cool, that's fine. They all hug and they're happy. So we go to, and again, I don't have a picture of this, so I apologize. We go to we go to Nicole, and she's telling Ted congratulations on the proposal. And he's just like, how did you find out about it? And he was just like, oh, you heard? And she was just like, yeah, Leslie told me. And she was just like, well, how? He was like, well, how did Leslie find out that Tomas was going to propose to Kat? And Nicole is shocked, and she wants to know who else. Nicole is shocked, and Ted was just like, well, who else would it be? And then she tells him that Leslie told her that Isaiah was asking for Eva's hand in marriage. And Ted was just like, well, if she would have stuck around long enough, she would have heard that he was asking me to help him to make sure that she didn't move in with Eva. So she wants to know, how is she just now hearing about Tomas wanting to propose to Kat? And he was just like, he told me earlier and I'm still processing it. They aren't sure if he is the one for Kat. Ted asks, should they tell Kat? Nicole says no. She made the right choice about the transplant. She'll make the right choice about Tomas. We see Leslie talking to Tomas, and she's telling him that she loves how old school he is, and he wants to know what she's talking about. And she says, asking for Eva's hand. And he says, no, that's not what I was talking to him about. And I told you that if it come to that, I would give you a heads up when the time was right. So we go back to Kat and Eva, and they're racing each other. Shanice is saying to Eva, Eva's telling Shanice that Kat brings out the competitive side in her, and she's staring at Nicole and Ted and saying, I know what you mean. So we go back to Vanessa and Joey, Vanessa, Joey, and Donna, I mean, and Deanna, and they tell her about their plans. Deanna says that's good and she'll give them some recommendations. She tells them the tornado made her shift her mindset. She'd rather Vanessa be happy and whole than miserable and alone. And if Joey makes her happy, she won't stand in the way of that. Vanessa gets happy. She's Vanessa's happy. She gets up and hugs her, and Joey looks at them skeptical as Deanna smirks. And that's the end of the episode. Yeah, that was that episode. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications so you'll know whenever I post. Get down in the comments, tell me what you guys thought of this episode, and I will see you guys in the next one.